Okay, today we're going to look at a Walther PPQ M2 45 auto pistol, 10 round magazine version. In my dealings, I ended up making a trade for this gun. I didn't go looking for this gun. It's just something I wanted to sell. A guy made me an offer, said, hey look, I got this neat gun. It's a great gun. I want to swap you. And so I did. I didn't know much about it or anything, and he was going on about how wonderful it was and that, and I ended up with the gun, and actually I'm impressed. So I'm going to change the camera angle around and we'll take a look at what we got here. Alright, so what he brought me was a pistol with two 10-round magazines. Comes in this nice hard case. It has removable and extra back strap, which this is the larger one. The small one is on there. And I believe another part for your mag release, you can convert it to left-hand magazine release. So they got that part in there. And of course, all the paperwork and that came with it too. So let's take a look at what we got. Now the guy was carrying on about this gun, that Hickok 45, did a video on it, and the trigger, everything, the trigger, you know, that's what they keep saying over and over again. So let's get the mag out, another 10 rounder, clear the weapon, and we're done. Let me see, I think I'm going to have to move the camera. Okay, that's a little bit better camera angle. Like I said, I didn't know much about this gun. He said go and look, Hickok 45 does a video on it and blah blah blah. And so I went and did it, and I looked up, I read up a little bit on it before I agreed to take the trade. And they do talk about the trigger. Okay, and more on that later, but supposedly this has a fantastic trigger right out of the box. They describe it, in Walther's description of the gun and everything else. So what we have is basically a 10-shot polymer frame, 45, and this is one of just Walther's, has this design in several different pistols. I guess PPQs or whatever, and PP this and that. I really never looked at a Walther, more modern one. I believe my wife had the 22 version years ago when we fired it, and liked it. It was a good pistol. So some of the features you got here, everything is ambidextrous. Here's your slide stop here and there. So you pull it back. And that's ambidextrous, and this is what they call a Glock safe pistol. There is no manual safety or anything. What you do is you rely on the Glock style trigger, where you have to pull the little inner trigger and discharge the firearm. It's Glock safe, okay? There is no other safety or lever or latch. You just have the slide release here, the mag release here, which is reversible. That's what that little part is. If you're left-handed, you can go and disassemble this, and I guess the other part will make it to where you can have your mag release here for a left-handed fellow. The sights are 3-dot sights. And it's what they call a low profile or something. It's kind of rounded, they don't stick up high. And I guess that's for holstering and unholstering the gun, pretty much. Another feature that they mentioned. And the sights do work well, and it's easy to pick up the dots. I mean, real easy. You got serrations here on the slide here and up front. Which is neat. And I believe it has polygon rifling. and standard, you know, Walther markings and all that other stuff. Now back to the trigger. The trigger, like I said, is a Glock safe trigger. And the guy told me this. He goes, what he wanted me to do is take it, pull the trigger, and then ratchet it back with the trigger all the way back. Then he said, ease up. And what it is, he's demonstrating what they call the reset. You move your finger just a hair, here, there's a reset. It ain't much. It ain't much at all. It resets pretty quick. And then he said, pull the trigger again. And he said it's about 2-3 pound trigger pull, real smooth. He goes, the first one is a long draw, and this is striker fired. It doesn't redo it. So once you got to cock it, so. And it is, it's just like that. Boom. Short reset. And then pretty light trigger pull on that second shot. For me, I mean, I know a lot of people, the feature of the trigger and all that stuff is a big deal. For me, it's not that bad. But I'm going to do a video where I take this out and shoot it. It is a very pleasant gun to shoot. It's easy to pick up and learn, and it is accurate. Okay? So you got your polymer Glock safe gun, and then here you have these little panels, and what that's for is you just draw that down. I think you gotta pull back the slide here, drop that down, and then your pistol comes right off like that. Okay, there's your locking system. All of these Walthers are the same, and the internals, as you see, polymer frame, very Glock-like. Okay, and you do have a rail system, squared off trigger guard, you know, for that combat stance and everything. And then your standard thing, just like a Glock, you pull the spring out and barrel and everything. Very similar. Very nice gun. And to reassemble it, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna pull it apart. And then you're ready to go. So I kind of like it for the amount of money I got tied up in this used guns coming out, that about equal with that polymer 80 build I made. And the thing is about this, handling it, even though it has the wider, you know, larger magazine, it does fit in the hand well. Even though it's kind of a bulkier gun. I have my 1911 here to compare it. And as you can see, side by side, they got about the same footprint. Okay? The only difference is the 1911 is narrower. Okay, and has a 7-round magazine, so width-wise, you know, if you like a metallic gun, the 1911 has a slimmer package, and I do prefer the 1911, even though it's only got a 7-shot mag. In other words, shooting. But this thing here, you know, being a fan of the 1911, this pistol with the smaller back strap fits in the hand, you know, was comfortable to shoot. You know, the polymer guns do react differently than like a 1911 with a metal frame. It was comfortable to shoot, and if you watch the following video, you will also see where my wife come out and gave it a try, and she picked this up and shot it, and it's accurate. I mean, I'll show you the targets. This thing was right out of the box, right on. And the guy gave me, with the 2 mags, he had them loaded with ammo. He had a jacketed hollow point. He had ball ammo with nickel-plated brass. Then he had a bunch of the aluminum cased 45 shells. And when I first picked the gun up, what I did, I didn't unload the magazine on. I went out and shot it. It cycled all of that ammo through. There was jacketed hollow points, everything else. The gun functioned 100% with a whole assortment of odd ammo, okay, which is a plus. This here's that Turkish 1911 that I recently purchased, the ZIG. I did a video on this. This thing functions great because there's some features in it with the throated barrel in that. This will eat hollow points and everything, and this pistol is accurate, okay? And in the next video, I'm going to run a head-to-head with my 1911 and with this gun. And actually, my wife even went and shot them both. You know, there is a difference between a steel frame 1911 and a polymer frame gun. Not much, but the thing is, even though there is a difference, we're able to shoot this, hit exactly what we're shooting at, control it. Really surprising. And the trigger, yeah, it was smooth, everything went fine, functioned well. I mean, in the limited testing I did, I put about maybe 100 rounds through it. So I was quite surprised, and like I said, I didn't really go looking for this particular gun, but I ended up with it. And it is pretty remarkable, and a lot of things people say about it are true. The trigger, you know, the sight's net, it's comfortable to shoot, easy to handle. It's not a concealed carry gun. I mean, you could carry it, but it's a full-size pistol in 45. But if it's something you were interested in or thinking about, I would really look into it. I wouldn't be afraid to pick one of these up. They're a good gun. And now I'm going to go on to the video where we're out on the range, the next video.